Okay, now the question is how we can provide feedback on content and form. By content, I mean the overall argument, the structure, the flow of the writing, and the coherence overall. And the form refers to the grammar, uh, to the syntax, overall, the sentence structure, and the spelling issues or the right use of vocabulary. So this question is very a crucial one, and we have to keep this in mind while giving feedback to second language students. So the best way is to make the balance and not to make too much feedback on the form so that the argument is compromised. And similarly, try to see whether the argument is appropriately developed, written, and whether the persuasive language is used. So, in this regard, we have to make sort of a delicate balance between the form and the content. So, while responding to student written work, while giving them feedback, so we need to avoid the mixture of both. And I would say there cannot be a right answer to it because it depends upon the context of the learners, their proficiency, their needs, their lacks, their wants, and their strengths. So, for example, if the students are too motivated, they might digest both the feedback on the content and the form. And if the students are a bit struggling one, they might find the feedback on the form discouraging and may make it which can overshadow their involvement with the feedback on the content. So what we need to do is as language teachers, and this is my suggestion to the principals, to the head teachers, and to the vice chancellors, that they should arrange training sessions for their language teachers, and that should emphasize how to make the balance between uh, content and form, so that student can not only can develop uh, analytical skills but also the critical skills, like the higher order skills, thinking critically, arguing critically, persuading critically in a language which is acceptable, which is appropriate, and which is suitable. So the dichotomy between whether to overlook, whether to give more emphasis to feedback on content as compared to form is bit artificial one. Why? Because why it appears artificial is because there is no right answer to it, because it all, as I said before, it all depends upon the nature of the students, their context, their learning proficiency, their learning ability and capability. So for example, if you pay too much emphasis on if the students have made errors in verb formation, and if you point it out repeatedly throughout the task, throughout the assignment, that might make them confused. So I would say, like, highlighting these type of errors in the first two pages can draw their attention, and in the later pages of their assignment, I would suggest the students to notice themselves where the verb errors happen and why they happen. So there are different ways, there are different debates regarding how to balance feedback on the content and form, and which way to make it more effective and suitable for the learner. So there is not a single study which can refute this argument, this notion that feedback provided on content is ignored altogether, or on the other hand, vice versa. If feedback is provided, too much feedback is provided on the form, then they tend to ignore it. So there is no right answer to it. And as I said before, it all depends upon the relationship, the connection between teacher and student, how the teacher provide the feedback and how the students absorb it. So I would say, like, when we are giving feedback on content and form, we need to make it much more personalized and individualized by naming the student, by encouraging them, by providing feedback in such a manner which is a mixture of praise and criticism. So we should respond both to the errors of content and form in a manner which is required, which at an appropriate point, which can click the students and make them notice what the teacher wants, what the teacher has drawn the gap between the desired and the current performance.